Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Happy Monday. This is Mark, the anxiety expert here at Newcastle Hypnotherapy. And thank you for all of your questions. Today we're answering your questions about fast anxiety relief. Now, the reason for this being is we put up a few videos over the last couple of days and we put up a lot of testimonials, especially from a lad called Callum, who'd found massive anxiety relief in just sort of 3 to 4 weeks. When we did that video, it was his 4th session. So thank you for sending in the questions. We do love them. Please keep them coming. And if you need to have a lot of questions and you like them answered, then you're probably better booking a free strategy session. And to do that, there are links below the video to do that. So I'll go through your questions about fast anxiety relief, the questions and the answers, and feel free to send us some more. Okay, so the first thing after we put that video up, and some of the testimonials that are floating around on Facebook is I've been on meds for ages. I've had anxiety for years. I've been told by the NHS, you know, I'm not going to ever sort this out. I've got to manage it. I've got to learn to cope with it. Is this really true that anxiety can be fixed? Now, the answer is typically yes, we can resolve anxiety. First of all, it's important to remember that anxiety is normally an unconscious pattern that's happening in the brain. We're not aware that we're doing it, but something's happening in the background and it's causing us to either breathe in a bad way, feel in a bad way, to worry, cause the mind to wander, give us all those symptoms, but it's just a pattern. And the great thing about the brain is that it learns quickly and we can replace those patterns quickly. Now, when I say quickly, typically the results are that in 4 to 6 weeks, most of the clients that we see, most of them see a massive reduction of about 70 to 90% in their anxiety. And that to me is a major thing. If somebody's had anxiety for 10, 20, 30 years, and they can get that amount of relief in just 4 to 6 weeks, that is amazing. And yes, the brain can work that quickly and sort these problems out as fast as we need to. Then what we expect is by keeping the work going is that you can eliminate it over time. And that really is down to the people involved who are pushing the work and doing it. Now, yes, we use hypnotherapy. Yes, I use NLP. Yes, I'm qualified in loads of different things. However, the key to this is the client themselves. When you get on the phone for the strategy call, before I'll agree to take anybody on, we must make sure that you're at the right place and you're willing to make some changes and to move forward. And the idea is that we'll use hypnotherapy, which is a major, massive tool. And the benefit for that, and the reason why this is so successful compared to the counseling and the CBT and all the other things that people have gone on for years and years, is that we handle both the unconscious side of the mind and the conscious. Counseling and other types of therapies will work on the conscious side of it. But if you've got something that's going on in your unconscious, and that's exactly what anxiety normally is, we need to deal with that as well. So we've got to make sure that we understand that principle. It's not a case that somebody comes in, sits back, and I hypnotize them. It's a case that there will be some homework to go through between each session. Okay, so the idea is there's little exercises so that we scan and we act. Okay, sometimes we realize we've got anxiety, sometimes we don't. Part of the process is we teach you to scan your body, realize that you feel a bit tense, and then relax it down. You'll realize that worry's coming in, and we'll teach you how to stop that and think about something else. And this does take a bit of work. Anything worthwhile, anything that's causing pain needs to be worked on. And it's a case of we both work together to do this. It's really, really important. So when people say to me, I've had anxiety for years, I've been told I'll never get rid of it, I can only manage it, I disagree. For about 95% of the population, we can sort it out. It's just sometimes some people get into such a rut that's so strong and so bad that they need to be medicated. And those people can still find benefit from this, but it's something that we have to work on. And for some people, sadly, it does get too far down the line. If you leave your anxiety unchecked, if you leave it and it just gets worse and worse, and then you get to that point, for some people, they can't come back. And that's a real shame, because they have this belief system of what the NHS and other people have told them. And I know those organizations are working hard. They're doing the best that they can. But there's a hell of a difference between a system that's trying to fix everybody, or specialized professional therapy for an individual. And that's the way that we work. And that's why we get those success stories. That's why we've got all those testimonials. And those are just a fraction of the people who've come in to see us, because a lot of people don't want to give us those testimonials. So the next question I've got is, can I guarantee you results? And the answer is definitely not. Everybody's different. Everybody works in a different way. Legally, we're not allowed to make any guarantee. I'm not allowed to turn around and say, I can cure your anxiety, because it's not drug-based, and we're not allowed to do that in the UK. Different laws, different countries, it varies dramatically. What I can guarantee you is that if I agree to take you on, I'll put 100% effort into helping you to be anxiety-free as quickly as possible, on the condition that you're willing to also work back at the same rate. So it's no good having a session and then you come in a week later and I say, did you do your homework? Oh, well, my Auntie Jean was unwell, and all these excuses. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a lad came to see me last year, severe anxiety problems, came in, did the hypnotherapy, loved it, but we needed to make some changes to his diet. And at that point, he turned around to me and he said, this isn't for me. I don't want to give up this. I don't want to change that. His anxiety was really bad, but he wasn't ready, or he wasn't willing to make those changes. And that's really sad when somebody gets to that point and they're not willing to do it. And unfortunately, whatever's caused the anxiety in the past needs to be changed to move things forward. Now, it might be that that's gone and we can't do anything about it. That's great. But if the foods that you're eating are triggering anxiety attacks, if there's allergies and intolerances and all sorts of things, people have to be willing to take the supplements and change the diet and sort the gut flora. And that's also a big part of what we do. That's the reason why this is so successful, because we're basically using a huge sledgehammer to smash that tiny walnut. We're going to hit it from every angle going. So we'll put in the efforts. The results will vary from person to person. Some people, they come in and they say a 70% reduction in anxiety. And let's say they do that over 6 weeks. To me, that's a major win when I've seen people really bad with anxiety. Other people might only get a 50% reduction. However, if you keep working at it, I expect 95, 98% of the people who come to see us to be able to eliminate that anxiety within a year. But you have to put the effort in. And some people are just too lazy. Some people don't want to do it. Some people don't have that motivation. Some people will still want to stick to those energy drinks or the Coca-Cola or whatever it is that's causing the anxiety. It's about getting the level right for you and pushing it nicely. Sometimes we have a problem with something called secondary gain. Now, some people kind of hold on to their anxiety. Some people like it because it gets them attention. There's an awful lot of people who just like to tell the world how bad they are all the time on Facebook about their anxiety. And it means they're getting something out of that. That's secondary gain. It might be they like the attention. They like the fact that they say, oh, look at me, my life's horrible. Some people just like to be miserable. Some people are happier being miserable than being happy, if that makes sense. There's loads of different things. And this is part of the process when we do this on the phone, and that we check where you are before we're willing to take you on. I can only take on 3 people a week for this sort of thing. And we have to make sure you're the right people, because we don't want you to waste your time, and you definitely don't want to waste my time. I'd rather be working with people who like to be helped. So secondary gain is something that can hold people back. And one of the worst things people can do is to not let go of the anxiety. If anxiety becomes part of your life, I see a lot of people who go onto these Facebook support groups. And again, these groups are there with good intention. But those people will go on first thing in the morning. Oh, trigger warning. I've got a bad back. I've got this niggle. Oh, trigger warning. I've got this tingling on my nose. Somebody the other day had got a toe and it was just slightly red. And they said, have I got cancer? Especially with health anxiety. Some people get into these groups and they hang about with lots and lots of other people who have anxiety. And if you do that, you will cause that anxiety to stay and to get worse. If you want to move away from anxiety, you need to get off those health anxiety groups and those daft groups that are constantly talking about anxiety and problems, and you need to move on to something more positive. Spend your time with something better. So that's very, very important, and that's one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing. Next question. Okay. Somebody came to me the other day with a question and said, I've been to see a hypnotherapist. I've been to see an EFT practitioner. I'm seeing a psychoanalyst at the moment. I'm seeing somebody else. Why have I still got anxiety after 5 years? Now, there can be lots of reasons for this. Some people like to collect therapists, I've been told recently, and they'll have lots of therapists and they like the attention that they get. The challenge is that when you go and see a hypnotherapist, or you go and see an NLP practitioner, or you go and see an EFT practitioner, these are usually general practitioners. They'll know a little bit about everything and they can be good at it and they can be very, very useful. But if you've got a severe anxiety problem, you want an expert, you want a specialist. You need somebody who deals with anxiety all the time, takes the time to look at the new research that's coming out, looking for new techniques. And it's been a case that I've done this for quite a while and I'm always looking and spending a bit of money on ways that we can do things faster. It used to be, it took us months and months to get anxiety way down, and now it's 4 to 6 weeks. So finding a specialist is important, and then you need to focus on just that for at least 90 days. You know, it's the old thing that if you get one of those magnifying glasses in the summer and you get a newspaper, if you just move it around, nothing happens. But when you stop and you focus it, that's when things burst into flames and we get results. So it really is about putting some focus in there and making sure that we're doing things properly. If you're going to mess about with lots of other therapists, it's no good. I say this on the phone to people. If you're going to continue doing this and continue doing that, it's no good. We're not going to move forward. Come back to me when you're ready to do that. So that's a good question, and we need to get that sorted out. Next one to do is, will the program that you run help people with severe anxiety? Now, everybody has severe anxiety because that's all they experience and that's what they're aware of. But yes, there's different levels of anxiety from that's quite mild that freaks some people out to some people who have it very, very severely. It's very interesting to notice that different people have different levels of anxiety and their awareness of it's quite interesting. One of the things that gets me is that people come in and say, I have generalized anxiety disorder, I have social anxiety, I have health anxiety, and there's lots of different labels. And that's useful for the NHS. You know, they're doing the best, they're working the best that they can. For me, it doesn't really matter. What matters to me is, how do you feel? What are your symptoms? What's going on in your head? And then where would you rather be? And I'll spend most of my time focusing on moving you where you want to be to get your outcome than looking at why maybe you've got anxiety or why there's all the other little problems. That's really important to me. And it's really important to you because you don't want to constantly go over the old past and the old problems. Let's just see how you want to feel and teach you how to get there. So yes, this will work for all sorts of different types of anxiety. It'll work for weak to strong anxiety. However, again, on the phone during the strategy call, this is when we look at it and see how we can move forward. And we'll be honest, if it's something I can't deal with, I might know some other people who can help. It could be that you've got different ideas about what anxiety is and what it isn't. The final question is, I've had anxiety for 30 years. Is it possible you can help me that I've had it so long? Now, again, remember, anxiety is just a pattern that happens in the mind. It can go on for years. You know, we can see people who smoke for 30 years suddenly give it up. It's exactly the same with anxiety. If you're willing to put the work in, if you're going to commit to the change, we might have to change diet, we might have to change supplements, we might have to remove something out. If you're willing to put the work in, there's no reason why this shouldn't help you to either reduce it massively or get rid of it for good. So anxiety is there. It causes lots of people problems. What I suggest is that you don't let it get worse, is that you get onto it and fix it as soon as you can before it gets stronger, because the stronger it is, the longer it can take to fix it, but we can do it. The idea is you want to take, responsibility for your life and your health. It's not really up to the NHS to fill you with medication all the time. It's not up to other people to sort it out. This is for you to fix. And that's the problem with anxiety. When you feel down, when you feel that you can't be bothered, if you can't be bothered to get across the water to see somebody doing a workshop, if you can't be bothered to get online because Coronation Street's on, then maybe it's not going to work for you. But if you're willing to put the time in and work on it, make some sacrifices, make some changes, then it's there. And that's why we get those testimonials. That's why we have people who are addicted to something or other and can leave it alone that night. This is why we have people who have driving anxiety can get back in the car within a couple of hours. This is why people have anxiety with water or spiders or whatever it is. They can get on and sort it out, sometimes very, very quickly, sometimes quickly in sort of 4 to 6 weeks. So thank you again for your questions. Do keep them coming in. We've got more lives coming up this week, so do send them to me either by commenting below or by dropping me a private message anywhere you want to do that. And again, if you'd like to discuss your issue and see what the options can be, you can use the link below to book your free strategy session, or your free strategy call, as we call it. I'm happy to give you sort of 30, 40 minutes on the phone, see what's the best way forward for you, and we'll work on it the best that we can, or maybe you want to take a different route. So thank you very much. See you all soon, and take care.